Intuition is seeing with the soul. There exists a type of knowledge that doesn't arrive through words. It doesn't require proof and unfolds without linear steps. Instead, it arises from stillness, suddenly, confidently, and peacefully. You've felt it before, a quiet certainty you're in the right place, or an undeniable feeling something's wrong. Even when all appears correct, you can't explain how you know, you just know. This is intuition, the soul's subtle voice, speaking beneath thought, sensation, and emotion. It's the self's whisper guiding you not through logic, but inner resonance. The world may value analysis, society often rewards precision and proof, yet within you remains an older wisdom unframed by the mind. Let it be your beginning. Carl Jung viewed intuition not as a mystical anomaly but a foundational psychological function, one of 4 pillars by which the psyche perceives and orients itself in reality. In Jung's view, intuition isn't irrational, it's transrational. It's perception beyond the 5 senses, an ability piercing the unseen yet unknown, bringing forth symbols, images, and insights. You inherited this capacity, innate rather than bestowed. Like a forgotten language, it needs remembering, a return to trust. For too long, the inner voice was dismissed in the age of reason. For too long, you were told to doubt deep feelings, to prefer the provable to the known without knowing how. The soul asked, "Will you listen to me again? Will you hear the unsayable?" This isn't just a journey of mind, but a return to sacred reason, the sentient sense guiding the heart when the mind lacks a map. Along the path ahead, you won't choose between logic and intuition, but reunite them, allowing both light and shadow, reason and mystery to occupy their rightful place in your becoming. Let it be your beginning, the first step to remembering what your soul already knows. Within analytical psychology, Carl Jung identified 4 primary psychological functions through which people perceive and process reality: sensations, thinking, feelings, and intuition. Each offers a unique mode of psychic orientation. One is based on senses, another on rational judgment, a third on emotional value, and the last on unseen mysterious currents. Sensation involves immediately experiencing the world's textures, colors, forms, and sounds, while thinking offers logical clarity and conceptual order. Feeling brings emotional weight, assessing value, harmony, and ethical alignment. Intuition doesn't rely on external cues nor follow linear progress. It perceives what's becoming, not just what is. For Jung, intuition wasn't fantasy or dreaming. It was a valid, vital mode of perception reaching beneath the conscious threshold, raising truths, yet fully formed. Intuition, he wrote, is perception via the unconscious. It draws not from direct observation or logical analysis, but the psyche's silent well, knowledge preceding explanation. The intuitive type in Jung's model is attuned not to what is, but what's possible, emerging, and symbolic. The person feels beyond the visible. A glance, gesture, or unsaid word, each becomes a thread leading to deeper patterns. The intuitive doesn't always know how they know, but knowledge exists, felt as truth before named. Sensation grounds you in the present, thought provides structure, feeling imparts value, intuition points forward and inward. It senses the arc of things, finds direction in chaos, and reads the soul's shape, both yours and the world's. Jung treated intuition with respect, not skepticism. For him, it wasn't science's enemy, but its predecessor. Each great discovery begins with insight, premonition, symbol, or dream before reason arrives to explain. To recover intuition doesn't mean abandoning thought, feeling, or sensation, but restoring balance. Listen again to the psyche's oldest compass, indicating not just where you are, but who you're becoming. There are moments entering a space when you know something already happened, though words were unsaid. The air seems charged, fragile, or warm. Something unseen lingers in the room. No one says it, but you feel it in the chest, on the skin, and at the spine's base. This is sensing intuition, the body's quiet intelligence awakening before thought forms in the mind. Sensing intuition isn't about analysis nor feeling in an emotional sense. It's primal perception, knowledge arising from the body's deep attunement to the surrounding field. It reads gestures of temperature change and subtle shifts in breath or tone. It gleans meaning not from the said, but what vibrates beneath the surface. Carl Jung recognized sensing intuition as closely tied to the instinctual self, an ancient psychic layer alive, rooted in the earth. This intuition serves as orientation, sentient guidance in a world speaking in silence. Before taking the stage, a performer senses if the audience is open or reserved. A therapist might enter a session, feeling grief is present, hidden, unspoken, and heavy in the air. A mother awakens, heart racing before her child stirs from a bad dream. This type of intuition is most developed in those working with subtle body dynamics and environment: dancers, athletes, healers, designers, and energy workers. They experience harmony or disruption not as theory, but a felt truth passing through the body like music or weather. Jung understood moderns, surrounded by noise and logic, often lose touch with this capacity, yet it remains beneath the surface. Reconnecting with sensing intuition is reconnecting with your animal wisdom, the deeply rooted self knowing how to follow the wind, track the herd's movement, or sense danger in forest silence. You still carry this knowledge, appearing as tingling, constriction, or gentle attraction or repulsion. It cannot be rationalized but trusted. In a stimulus-filled world, returning to sensing intuition is an act of grace, slowing down to hear what the body always knew. All is connected and speaks if you listen without ears. There are times a decision arrives not as method, but mystery, suddenly, entirely, and undeniably. You don't reach it through slow, deliberate steps. It comes fully formed, as if whispered by a deeper intelligence. This is thinking intuition's realm, where the unconscious mind thinks before the conscious mind can explain. Unlike logical deduction, carefully building from premise to conclusion, thinking intuition operates on pattern recognition at the perceptual edge. It bypasses linearity and sees connections where others see fragments. What appears a hunch to outsiders is the intuitive thinker's knowledge form, too quick and deep to trace. Carl Jung observed such intuitives often live a half step ahead of themselves. Their minds jump point to point, guided not by rules, but symbolic threads connecting disparate ideas. This isn't chaos, but unconscious order, a web of unseen paths illuminated by flashes. You might see it in scientists after years with data, finding the answer not in the lab, but in a dream. In the inventor, whose hands sketch designs not yet fully understood. In the strategist, who sees the future unfolding before others see the first sign. Albert Einstein said, "I believe in intuitions and inspirations. I sometimes feel that I am right. I do not know that I am." Not the words of a frivolous mind, but a recognition of the unconscious's symbolic intelligence. In fiction, Sherlock Holmes represents this archetype. The detective doesn't just observe, but knows, seeing connections others miss, moving from clue to truth in leaps, not stairs. Jung understood such thinking wasn't mystical, but psychologically grounded. Its logic informed by the dream, and reason shaped by image, intelligence in conversation with the deep. Trusting this function, you act not just from conscious mind, but the full range of your psychic being. Insight becomes less about process and more about receptivity, openness to what cannot be forced, only received. Innovation is born and discovery unfolds from this perception. The new arises not from calculation, but the soul's quiet reason. There are those who listen not just to your words, but your silences. Before you speak, they've sensed your sorrow. Before you acknowledge your joy, they're already smiling. This is feeling intuition, a deep, empathetic awareness of what lies beneath another's emotional surface. Possessing feeling intuition is not merely empathizing, but perceiving emotional truth needing no explanation. It's knowing before articulation, understanding flowing heart to heart in quiet communication. You may meet someone like this, a therapist, healer, or friend, naming the unspoken burden you carried. They didn't analyze you or interrogate your history, they simply knew. Their presence felt like seeing from the inside out. Carl Jung embodied this sensitivity. In his clinical work, he wasn't diagnosing symptoms, but listening to the soul. He noticed vocal tremors, lingering gazes, and themes patients avoided. From subtle cues, he intuitively sensed inner conflict, suppressed longing, or hidden pain. This intuition is relational, emotionally intelligent, attuned to energy and tone. It arises not from mental calculation, but heart resonance. People with strong feeling intuition seem to live in a world of emotional frequencies, attuning to shifting currents permeating each encounter. Jung deemed this ability essential for meaningful communion. What is a relationship but inner worlds meeting? How can such meetings occur if you cannot sense beyond the tongue's artifice? Sentient sense allows you to feel when someone suffers behind a smile, when beauty hides behind shame, when intimacy is desired but feared. You can understand and respond in ways that soothe, affirm, and restore. In a world often placing thought above feeling, this function seems soft, even vague. But it's deeply courageous to open yourself to others' emotions, standing in a vulnerable field without defense or avoidance. Embracing feeling intuition, you become a vessel of compassionate clarity. You see what's too fragile to say and feel what's ready to hold, becoming not just a mirror, but a sanctuary. Some may look at the present moment, seeing not just what is, but what's becoming. They feel the direction events unfold in. Symbolic threads beneath surface actions tell a larger story hidden in the ordinary. This is judging intuition, the inner ability to perceive destiny in motion, the patterns shaped before it fully forms. Judging intuition isn't limited to the present moment. It peers over time's horizon, reading a map others cannot yet see. Those possessing it speak of being drawn toward a vision. An inner conviction data or evidence cannot explain, only powerful resonance, this is the way. It's seen in the strategist anticipating social change before news appears, in the leader building a future while others focus on the present, and in the innovator sensing humanity's yearning before that yearning arises. Figures like Steve Jobs intuitively understanding trends and archetypal desires possess this kind of foresight. Carl Jung understood such intuition wasn't prediction, but interaction with life's archetypal side. The person with judging intuition perceives myth in motion, understanding time's symbolic movement, feeling personal events coincide with collective transformation, a soul's path echoing ancient motifs of initiation, sacrifice, and birth. This function manifests as sudden clarity regarding life's direction, a call defying reason but unable to be silenced. You may feel, long before others, one chapter ends and another begins. You may renounce something seemingly good, not from dissatisfaction, but because something whispers, this isn't your path. Judicial intuition allows you to hold the long arc, trusting what the present cannot justify. It requires vision, but also patience. The world may not recognize what you see until long after. This intuition serves as the soul's journey compass, the inner star guiding prophets across the desert, pioneers through uncertainty, and the wise into the unknown, not to escape, but transform. Following it, you act aligning with something larger, older, and profoundly true. Each intuition is a window into a different aspect of your being. It's a unique compass guiding you through inner and outer life landscapes. They're not meant to exist apart. As 4 directions form a complete map, integrating 4 intuition types brings psychic wholeness. Sensing intuition grounds you in the present. It's the body's wisdom, the primal and animal instinct attuned to place, energy, and atmosphere. It allows you to feel the unsayable, inhabit the subtle, and listen through the skin. Thinking intuition connects you with the sapient mind, the realm of sudden insights, unconscious knowing, and patterns predating creation. It sharpens intelligence with symbolic and dream depths, enabling innovation and mental insight. Feeling intuition roots you in relationships, emotions, and the human experience's heart. It reads beneath language and heals through understanding, witnessing, and becoming a vessel for empathy and attunement. Judging intuition orients you to the future, destiny, and calling. It allows you to hold a broader picture, trusting what's becoming even when the path is unlit. Together, these four voices form a chorus, a psychic symphony expressing the self. Listening to them in balance, they lead you not to fantasy or escape, but to individuation and unveiling your deepest nature in consciousness. Carl Jung saw individuation as the psychological life's aim, becoming your true self beyond imitation and masks of adaptation. Intuition, fully embraced, becomes a sacred guide in this journey. It shows you where reason cannot reach. It helps you feel what the heart hides. It invites you to trust your feelings and follow what you see inside. You were never meant to rely on only one way. You are vast, layered, and complex. In the same way, your knowing must be. Living with integrated intuition is living in dialogue with yourself. It means I listen, not just with ears, but the soul. A sacred passage exists between the conscious mind and unconscious realm. It's a place where symbols speak and inner figures move. Entering the space isn't escaping reality, but diving into the profound inner, where the soul seeks to be seen. The door opens through active imagination, a process Carl Jung described as one of the most important tools for encountering the unconscious's living reality. Unlike passive fantasy or dreaming, active imagination is purposeful, engaging, and transforming. It's the art of inner listening and responding, entering an image, dream, or emotion, and allowing it to unfold like conversation with a living being. To begin, create physical and psychological space. Find a quiet place and dismiss distractions. Close your eyes or turn inward, evoking an image spontaneously arising, perhaps a figure from a dream, a landscape from memory, or a vague sensation or symbol. Don't analyze it. Instead, engage with it, asking questions and observing its reaction. Speak as if it's real because, in the psyche's language, it is. It's the unconscious's voice made visible through symbol and palpable through intuition. During his years working on the Red Book, Jung practiced this method with devotion. He didn't study his psyche from afar. He entered it, speaking with inner figures such as Philemon, a wise winged being who emerged as a guide from the depths. During the process, Jung discovered the unconscious wasn't a shadow repository of instincts and memories, but a realm of living meaning. You carry this world within. The figures, landscapes, and moods arising during active imagination are fragments of the self-seeking expression. You begin to unveil what the ego cannot fathom through the creative dialogue. See symbols of transformation, longings, and truths coded in images and myths hidden beneath behavior. Active imagination is not technique, it's a ritual reconnecting with the lost language of your inner world. Intuition is not abstract in this space, but becomes an image, voice, and encounter. The soul speaks with itself. Meeting yourself this way is an act of courage and a return to the intuitive source of your becoming. Each night, as consciousness sleeps, another realm awakens. It's a realm where symbols walk and forgotten truths rise to the surface, clothed in images. This is the language of dreams. Here, intuition speaks, unbound by logical restriction or daylight perception. In Jungian psychology, dreams are not random, but messages from the unconscious born from the psyche's deep layers. They carry the wisdom that the waking self cannot yet grasp. Dreams express what intuition already knows but cannot find words for. They are, as Jung wrote, the unconscious's most direct expression. Have you felt this way? A dream lingers in memory and is filled with emotions. It seems to speak about something, though you can't say what. It's intuition made visible, cloaked in night's garments. To work with dreams is to enter this sacred dialogue. Start a dream journal and place it near your bed. Upon awakening, write all you remember: images, phrases, colors, and feelings. Don't interpret too quickly, but let symbols breathe. Over time, recurring motives may appear: a house with many rooms, a stranger with a familiar face, and a journey cut short. These are not senseless, but archetypal messengers and soul voices returning until heard. Dream figures represent parts of yourself, rejected, evolving, or divine. They may appear as guides, animals, mentors, or ancestors, offering intuitive understanding if you are willing to perceive them symbolically. To dream is to receive, to interpret is to meet the unconscious with awe. Look not just at what happens in the dream, but how it feels. Ask what in me resembles this figure, or if a part of my life echoes this story. When you begin to see your dreams as sacred communion, not chaos, but encoded intuition, night becomes not an escape from life, but an immersion in its hidden order. Following the threads woven in the dream, you awaken not only each morning, but to yourself. Within you is a voice desiring to speak not with others, but with you. It is quiet, often buried beneath obligations and thoughts, but when given a page and silence, it begins to move. It's the essence of intuitive journaling, an act of inner listening, granting the soul space to express its unedited truth. Journaling, when regarded not as accounting but revelation, becomes a portal to intuition. Words you didn't plan appear. Insights you didn't know you have emerge. You start writing, and then something starts writing through you. Carl Jung often turned to writing as inner dialogue, especially during his private reflections working on the Red Book. He sought not answers, but contact with the unconscious, with the self, and with images spontaneously arising from the depths. Thus, the pen became a divining rod for hidden wisdom. To engage in stream of consciousness writing, you must begin. Choose a quiet moment, sit with your journal, and allow your hand to move without censure. Don't edit or stop to polish your thoughts. Write as if whispering to your soul, or as if your soul whispers to you. You might start by asking, what do I feel? What do I need to know? What have I ignored? Allow the answers to come, raw, unfinished, poetic, and irrational. They need not make sense. They need only be honest. Over time, patterns may emerge, symbols, phrases, repeated emotions, and images. These are clues and intuitive crumbs leading you back to yourself. This writing form is not about producing insights, but allowing it to happen. It's not about resolution, but softening and allowing a deeper voice to the surface when the superficial voice tires. Returning to the page repeatedly, you may find what once seemed distant becomes familiar, what was hidden becomes visible, and what was silent begins to sing, because intuition, like truth, speaks in presence, not perfection. Intuition doesn't shout, and it's not hasty nor demanding. It whispers in the silence between thoughts and in the breath between moments. To hear it, you must become still enough to listen. In the silence, meditation becomes a sacred threshold, where the outer world vanishes and the inner voice rises. Carl Jung understood the unconscious doesn't force itself on the conscious mind. It waits for space, attention, and reverence. Meditation is the act of providing this space, creating a sanctuary where the self can manifest. Start by setting aside a few minutes each day. Find a place inviting calmness. Close your eyes gently, breathing not with force, but with awareness. Exhale slowly and completely. Allow your thoughts to float, like clouds across the sky. You are not here to control them. You are here to observe, allow, and accept. This is not discipline, but a meditation of presence. You don't need a mantra or a goal. You simply need to sit quietly with yourself and allow your intuitive mind to awaken. Images may arise, emotions unfold, and you may receive a feeling, word, or vision, or just feel silence, which is sacred. In the silence, intuition organizes itself, gathering fragments of thoughts, memories, and symbols into something meaningful. The silence is not empty, it's alive, the womb of insight. Entering it daily, even for a short time, you attune to a deeper rhythm, not governed by the clock but by the soul. The intuitive mind thrives in slowness and cannot be rushed. When you honor it with your presence, it begins to trust you. It begins to speak. In quiet conversations occurring in the breath of being, you understand what your mind could never tell you. You are already guided and have always been. You need only be quiet enough to remember. Awakening intuition isn't enriching your inner world, but transforming your outer life, because intuition is not mystical luxury or a whimsical talent. It's a practical necessity rooted in the psyche's deepest reason. When trusted and cultivated, it becomes your truest guide, leading you to creativity, clarity, and a life lived according to your truth. One of intuition's most immediate gifts is enhanced creativity. Opening to intuitive flow, ideas arrive from appearance, not effort. Artists often speak of inspiration coming from nowhere. They do not invent, but listen, because the intuitive mind bypasses rumination and penetrates directly into the symbolic, poetic, and unexpected. Originality flourishes in this space. Intuition also leads to quicker and more effective problem-solving. The logical mind moves step by step, having its rightful place. But there are moments when the answer arrives entirely, not because it was deduced, but because it was perceived. The scientist anticipates the discovery's form before the data confirms it. The surgeon knows what to do mid-operation without direction. The parent feels, without words, what their child needs. This is not magic, but a mind in harmony with the unconscious. It's the instinct and insight alliance shortening the distance between question and clarity. In decision-making, intuition becomes a compass. It doesn't reject facts, but gathers them and measures them not only with logic, but resonance. You may feel drawn toward one path and a subtle dissonance in another. Even when all options seem equal, the intuitive self knows which aligns with your purpose. Listening deeply, you develop greater self-awareness. Intuition reflects your inner state, hidden motives, and unspoken truths. It helps you recognize what energizes or depletes you, and what you have outgrown. It reveals a soul map not drawn with words, but with feelings, images, and direction. Think of turning points in your life starting not with a plan, but an attraction, a quiet confidence, and a feeling this is right. These were not accidents, but messages from the self. Trusting inner knowledge, your life begins to acquire consistency. There is less resistance, more flow, less confusion, and more meaning. Intuition is not the opposite of reason, but its partner. It doesn't reject reality, it deepens it. Living from this place, you respond from within, guided not by noise, but knowing. There are those who move through the world with a quiet awareness, those who seem to feel what cannot be seen, and who respond to subtle signals others ignore. If you have been told you are too sensitive, too receptive, or that you just know things, you may already live in harmony with your intuitive nature. Strong intuitive sensations are common signs. You may feel drawn to certain people or places without explanation, or sense when something is wrong, even if nothing seems wrong. These instincts are not imagined, but your inner compass guiding you to harmony and away from danger or dissonance. Emotional resonance with others is another intuitive sensitivity feature. You may absorb a room's energy, deeply empathizing with others' pain, or know what someone needs before they ask. This is empathic intuition, reading emotional frequencies as easily as others read faces. Pattern recognition is another sign. You may notice connections between ideas, events, or behaviors before others. In conversation, you might intuitively understand what someone will say. In your own life, you see recurring rhythms and sense when a cycle ends or a new one begins. Intuitive people often possess a subtle sense of knowing, not knowing facts, but knowing the heart, a wordless clarity settling as truth. You may not prove it, but you feel it fully, deeply, and confidently. In modern life, this ability is often dismissed or questioned. Many intuitives suppress their gifts in favor of logic, approval, or certainty. So, the voice quiets not because it's gone, but because it wasn't invited to speak. This is your invitation. Your intuition is not a rare skill, but your birthright and inner wisdom that has never left you. It waits under the noise, the performance, and the conditioning. The more you trust it, the more it unfolds. Think of your life, remembering times you knew before knowing was allowed. These were not accidents, but glimpses of deep intuition within you, always present and always ready to guide once you listen. Intuition is not a sudden gift bestowed upon a few. It's an ability like breathing and balance that grows clearer with practice. Just as the body strengthens through movement, the intuitive self awakens through gentle, daily attention. To deepen your intuitive capacity, begin with simple rituals through which your inner voice speaks more clearly. First, keep an intuition journal. Take a few minutes each morning or evening to write, starting with a prompt like, "How do I feel today? What is my intuition trying to show me?" Let your hand move freely and don't edit or analyze. You write to listen, not to be understood. Second, consider taking a midday pause at some point each day in the silence between tasks or during a walk. Stop and turn inward. Close your eyes, take 3 breaths and ask, "What do I need now? What is true beneath the noise?" You may hear nothing. You are practicing presence, not performance. Third, internal check-in rituals occur. Before making a decision, place your hand on your heart or solar plexus, asking, "Does this feel expansive or constrictive, energizing or depleting, and true or forced?" These sensations are the body's subtle yet reliable intuitive signals. Fourth, use an awareness of symbols and synchronicities. Notice symbols, patterns, and synchronicities during your day. Repeating numbers, dreams, and unexpected encounters occur. Intuition often speaks through meaningful coincidences, guiding you not through logic, but resonance. Fifth, trust what arises. When quiet insight comes, honor the feeling, direction, and wordless attraction in small ways. Take a step and make a choice. Over time, this creates trust between your conscious self and depths. Remember, strengthening your intuition isn't about effort, but about slowing down and noticing. It requires patience and courage to believe your inner world has value, even when the outer world doesn't affirm it. The more you listen, the more you hear. The more you act, the more the voice returns. What once seemed distant becomes a guiding presence in your every step. Your intuition is not an ornament, but your soul's compass, an initial voice guiding you not through volume, but truth. In a world demanding proof, it offers presence. In noise, it returns you to silence, and amid turmoil, it reminds you, you already know. Carl Jung taught that the path to wholeness lies not in pursuing the external, but in returning to the internal source. He wrote, "Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes." Looking inward is not retreating from the world, but re-entering it with clarity, authenticity, and direction. Listening to your intuition, you don't escape life, you live it more fully, guided not by fear or appearance, but resonance, alignment, and deep knowing. Now you have seen how intuition speaks through sensations, reflections, feelings, and vision, through dreams, silence, symbols, and small decisions. You've learned this gift isn't rare, but an innate ability and practical guidance rooted in the soul. The invitation remains open to live not just from the surface, but from your center, trusting the vast, indomitable, and complete wisdom striving to be known through relationships. Start again each day. Pause, listen, ask, and follow. Let intuition be your companion, not a distant muse, but a friend. Let you go forward not in doubt, but in an inner clarity. Let you speak not only from thought, but truth felt within. Let you trust the voice rising from silence, the one calling you home. Trusting that voice, let your life be not just successful or safe, but complete.